Hello and welcome to LA Currents. I'm Anita Bennett. There are many important issues affecting residents in Council District 14, and joining us to discuss some of these issues is the man who represents that area, City Councilman Kevin De León. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so let's get started. In July, the City Council passed an ordinance that would restrict encampments. What is happening with that law?
That ordinance is 41.18, and I think it comes from a lot of frustration from a lot of Angelenos, voters throughout the city of LA, of all the major encampments, trash that has built up throughout the city of LA. So just recently, we just finalized some of the last regulations of 41.18, and quite frankly, it's very simple, straightforward. You can't have an encampment in front of a school, a nursery, a daycare center, in front of a library. It's just that simple. But I want to be very clear because it's very important. When we talk about enforcement, it simply doesn't work if you don't have the housing. Because what we can't do, and I know some folks would like to, but you can't criminalize and jail individuals because they're poor, or because they have a drug addiction, or because of the color of their skin, or because they have a severe mental illness. That doesn't work. And in fact, at the end of the day, it wastes tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayers. What we just did recently in the 90032, which is El Sereno neighborhood in City 14, is we had an encampment of over 100 individuals on the medium of Huntington Drive, which is on your way to Alhambra. It's in the farthest corner of Northeast LA. And what we did, my staff working with LASA and other community-based organizations, we did like a really intensive outreach. Didn't need the LAPD. We did a lot of outreach. We acquired 2 motels. We converted them quickly to home key hotels. And we went and we spoke with every single individual that was there. And we said, listen, we can give you a warm blanket. We can give you warm, clean towels. You can have your own little mini refrigerator, a television set. You can have your own remote control where you can watch the Dodgers or the Lakers. You know, you can have an HVAC system.
So you got them housed.
Got them housed. You can have, more importantly, a locked door for your own protection and safety. And we got the vast majority of them. In fact, 98, 99% of them said yes, unequivocally. So when you're gonna do enforcement, you need housing. Without housing enforcement, we're just having a dog chase its tail, criminalizing folks, which we shouldn't be doing. In fact, we have a U.S. federal judge has said very clearly, you can do it. So that's what 4118 is. Not in front of schools, daycare centers, nurseries, in front of the entrance of a library.
You represent Skid Row, and a lot of the services are concentrated in that area. That is a big part of why there are so many homeless people there. I recently spent a day on Skid Row, and what I saw was extremely troubling. My photographer and I documented some of what we saw. Let's take a look.
You need a place to stay tonight. I can get you into the mission today.
What mission?
The Union Rescue. They'll take women in, no questions asked.
Oh, no, I don't like the way it smells in there.
It's the start of Senior Lead Officer Dion Joseph's patrol around the LAPD Central Division and Skid Row.
This is me engaging in what's called high visibility patrol. And when I get to one of those hot spots, I'll park my car and I'll stay there and I'll get out and walk the area. And that's called the sit down technique. That's what I call the sit down, where I sit down on a block to kind of deter the crime so the people that really need help, that want to come to me for help, they'll come. You can't be in the street like that, brother. You can't be in the street.
Scenes like this play out over and over as we ride along in his LAPD squad car. Skid Row covers a 50-block area in downtown LA. It's home to about 4,700 people on the streets and in shelters. That's according to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. What did you give?
I gave a hygiene kit to a woman who I believe needs some help.
Known on the streets as the Angel Cop, Officer Joseph hands out hygiene kits paid for by members of his church. 40% of the people on Skid Row are women, and Officer Joseph tells us 2/3 of them have been sexually assaulted at least twice.
Ma'am, please cover up.
We spot a woman walking down a busy street who's nude from the waist down.
This is a systemic failure that they've made us the tip of the spear for. And I've been calling and begging for more proactive outreach to people just like that. But under the law, she's not killing anybody. We can't help her.
So what do you think of some of the things we just saw?
I think it's accurate 100%. It is outrageous, and that's why for me, for a lot of elected officials at every level of government, it's become white noise, or when they see it for the very first time, they're absolutely astonished, you know. But let's be real. This has been going on for years, if not decades, and the reason why it's the #1 issue in the city, in the region, in the state of California is because it's hemorrhaged outside of the safety confines of Skid Row. Now we see encampments in almost every neighborhood. So historically, the hot spots for homelessness has been Skid Row, it's been the streets of Hollywood, and it's been Venice Beach. But now we see encampments in every neighborhood in the Valley, in Mid and West LA, in South LA especially, and in Boyle Heights. Well, historically, we've had neighborhoods that have had their struggles, but they've never had large, homeless encampments, that have bled from Caltrans properties adjacent to highways right into neighborhoods and into parks. So to me, it is the largest humanitarian crisis that this city is facing and has faced in a very, very long time. So to me, it's all hands on deck. Last August, the council has approved my plan called A Way Home, which is 25,000 housing units by the year 2025, because ultimately enforcement, issues of mental illnesses, sexual assaults, horrific that women of color, women at the lowest economic strata who have been marginalized or vulnerable on any given night in the city of LA, and this happens 24/7. So we should collectively be outraged. The good thing is it doesn't make a difference if you're a Democrat or Republican or points in between. Angelenos want immediate action, but we have to be very smart because we have spent tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and not billions of dollars, and the desired outcomes that we wish to have not really come to fruition. The city of LA has 41,000 apartments, luxury market rate surplus. We have 41,000 individuals who are homeless in the city of LA. That's upside down. And we have to put our priorities straight in LA for all Angelenos, whether you live in Woodland Hills, Winnetka, Westchester, or Encino, or East LA, South LA, or Sherman Oaks. We're in this together. By the end of this month, September, I'll have the largest tiny home village community in the United States of America, right off the 110 freeway, Arroyo Seco, in Highland Park. 60 square feet, you have a locked door, you have an HVAC system, you have your own bed, you have a light. If it gets too hot, guess what? You can put on air conditioning. They'll have bathrooms, they'll have showers, they'll have 3 meals served to them a day. You'll have 24/7 security. It's short term. It's not the panacea to the big structural issues, because when we're not dealing with macroeconomic issues out of Washington, D.C. that drive people into poverty, and all of a sudden members of the council, our mayor Eric Garcetti, sort of kind of left holding the bag to deal with this crisis. That's why I say it's all hands on deck. But tiny shelters, I think, are for the immediate. I know some folks want the perfect. We can't let the perfect get in the way of the good, because we have 4 Angelenos who die on our streets every single day. In fact, just last year, you had 1,383 Angelenos who lost their lives on the streets of the city and county of Los Angeles. That's one too many.
Do you know how many units will be in the tiny home village?
We'll have about 100 units. That is 2 individuals per unit. There's 2 beds per unit. There'll be a total of over 200 individuals. Also, too, we're building tiny cabin shelter units on the corner a little north of Colorado and Figueroa, up northeast for the Eagle Rock community, where we have a growing, unhoused community as well, too.
Well, this has been a lively discussion. Would you agree?
It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank
I hope to do it again.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Councilman Kevin De León.
Thank you so much.
And I am Anita Bennett, and thank you for watching LA Currents.